Alright, I'm going to do a video on magnet harvesting from disk drives. So, old disk drives right now are everywhere. You can get them on your old PCs or get them from, junk shops or whatever. And the magnets in these disk drives, the magnets are beyond belief. They're some of the most powerful magnets in the world. So, if you want to get a couple of really good powerful magnets, take apart a disk drive. Now this particular disk drive is fairly powerful. It's a 300 gigabyte HP disk drive, and we're going to take it apart, show you how to do it. First, you want to get some T Torx drives. Get some Torx drives. If you're going to do a bunch of disk drives, get yourself a power drive, because it's going to take you a lot less time. Alright, so what you want to do first is you want to take the bracket off. So, I found the Torx drive already. Magnetic. Take the, this is the mounting bracket, or the sled, is what they call it, to go inside the computer or the disk drive housing. And, this is a good way to get rid of the data too, if you're worried about your data getting into the wrong hands. When you take this apart, you pretty much you can completely ruin the data, which is what you want to do. Alright, so pull the disk drive out, throw away the canister. Now you've got two sides here. You've got the circuit board side and the disk side. Now the circuit board controls the drive, and this is a good source of gold and silver. So save all these, and I've already taken a few apart, so save all these and you can scrap those for gold and silver recovery also. So now you want to you got all these screws here, every single screw, you want to take them out. And you want to change your bit. That was the large bit was for the sled. I have a small bit here for the actual drive. So you want to take all these screws out, like this. One more. Okay. So you want to pull the circuit. Oh, one more. I missed one. If you miss one, no big deal. Just save the screws too. I think you can scrap those. There's the board. We're going to put that in the pile for recovery for gold and silver. That's the other side. Alright, so this side here. Then you want to turn it over. Here's one of the secrets. To take it apart properly, you've got these screws obviously, but there's some hidden secret screws. Now, what you do is you feel around right there. You can see it divots in. So you want to take a knife and you want to cut the label to expose the hidden screw, okay? Just expose the hidden screw. There's two of them. There's another one here. Now every disk drive is going to be different, but usually there's a couple of hidden screws. So now those are exposed. So now you want to take all these screws out. And these, I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, but these magnets that are in these things are neobendium. Neobendium? I don't know how to say that properly, but it's a rare earth magnet that's it's the most powerful magnet in the world. And magnet is the secret key between spinning disks. That's how it works. I'm going to show you how that works in a second here. But disk drive stores all the data. It's basically on disks. That's why they call it a disk drive. Now, I got all the screws out. Let's take this apart here. Alright, so there it is. Scrap that. Now this is the disk. These are the disks right here, and you can see it spinning right here. And there's, in this particular drive, there's 4 disks stacked up. And there's a series of heads in here that move. These heads move along the disk. The disk is spinning at 10,000, 15,000 RPM. And these these heads move across the disk and read and write ones and zeros, and that's your data. Everything's a 1 and a 0. That's all it is. And this technology's been around since the 1940s. I think they first invented this in the 1940s, and that's how it works. And the new SSD drive, solid state drive, the new SSD drives do not have spinning discs, so you don't need a motor to spin. It's all solid state, so it's like a flash drive. And that's the new technology that you really should have, because spinning discs are obsolete. It takes a lot of power to run these. It uses a lot of heat, and they do wear out too. The disc, there's a bearing in here, and it wears out. Eventually it'll wear out. Most drives last 5 to 10 years, and then they wear out and they start to make noise, and then they just seize and they're done. So we're going to take this apart. Now this is the magnet assembly right in here. And there's two really cool magnets that moves this head electronically. So you get the control board sends a signal to this coil, and it moves the head precisely, of course. And the magnets react to the current going through the coil and moves the heads across the surface of the disc. That's how it works. So this magnet in this particular drive, every drive is going to be different, but they're all going to be similar to this. You just need to experiment if in your first one, and then you got it. But this one's fairly easy. The magnet just pops right off, and it's going to be strong. Well, there, it just sits in there. With this particular disk drive, the top magnet. So what you've got is this is a very powerful magnet, as you can see right here. Very powerful magnet, and it's thin, and that is the only magnet part right there. This other part is just a piece of metal. It's iron of some kind, because the magnet sticks to it. And or wait, does the magnet stick to it? Now I'm confused. We're gonna do this. I think it does. Yeah, the magnet sticks to it, so it's iron. I was a little confused there for a second. Now the thing is, this magnet is glued to this, and I'm going to get into that a little later on how to harvest that. Or you can just leave the magnet on here, but it's hard to use the magnet because these metal brackets are in the way, so you can't just stick it onto something. But I'm going to show you how to get around that in a second. Okay, so now you've got the disk drive. You can see how it moves. You've got a coil here, so current comes through the coil and makes the heads move across the disk right now, just like this. And all your data is on these disks. Now if you want to destroy your data for sure, just hit this with a hammer. Just smash and gouge and just decimate these disks, and your data is completely gone. So let's get that. There's one more magnet to get. There's two magnets in every disk drive. Let's get them both. First thing we want to do is get this head assembly out of the way. So what I did is I've got just a regular screwdriver here, screwdriver bit, and then you can see right here it's slotted. So I'm just going to go like this and just loosen up that screw. And I'm going to put my bit back in. I think it's a T9. Yeah, T8. T9 actually kind of fits, but it's too tight. Alright, so then there's two more screws that's holding the other magnet in. So I'm going to take those two screws out. Alright. Now, use your screwdriver. You don't have to worry about breaking anything because you don't care. So just kind of move that head out of the way like that, and then you can grab. Just use a screwdriver. Don't use your fingers, and you don't want to hurt yourself. Grab the other magnet. Now what you've got is basically the same thing. You got a piece of metal with the magnet glued to it, and you've got pieces of plastic and whatnot, so you can just throw those away. So now I've got two magnets onto metal, and this is the disk drive. So we just toss that Alright, so now we've got our magnets. These are very strong magnets. I mean strong. Look at this. You've got a pair of pliers here, which is fairly heavy. And I'm going to use this magnet. Look at that. Picks up that pliers like nothing. I mean, it's really, really strong. I've got a really heavy duty vise that's a little, well, it probably would work. But, so, trust me, they're very strong. And once you start harvesting, you'll find out. I mean, that is strong. Very strong magnet. I know magnets are like N52, and I think N55 is the highest magnet. The strongest magnet is an N55. These are probably N52s, maybe N55s, I don't know. So now, what I do, I use these magnets for a lot of different things. You can use them to hold down a tarp on your car. If you live in the north like I do, you can, what I do is I take a tarp and I put it on my car, because my car sits outside, and then I use these magnets to hold down the tarp on my car, and they work great. The wind doesn't blow them off, they're so strong. And then I can go out in the morning, take the tarp off, just take the magnets off the tarp, take the tarp off the car, and I don't have to scrape my car with ice or the snow or anything. It's amazing. So that's one use for these magnets. Another one is you want to stick them to the exhaust port on your furnace, and then they absorb the heat. And then when your furnace is off, the heat will dissipate in your house, and you kind of harvest heat that way. It's another thing you can do. Alright, so now you could use it like this and stick it to something flat. It'll work, but you don't get the full force of the magnet. So if you don't need the full force of the magnet, if you're holding something, this is actually a good idea, because then it's easy to grab and pull it off. But I want full force. So what you want to do is break this away. Now what I do is I go like this, and I take a screwdriver and I just tap it with a hammer, and it breaks the glue. But I read that when you hit a magnet, you can reduce its magnetism. And I went online and I looked around, and some people say they soak it in hot water. So you can just drop this in hot water, and then the glue in the back of this will let go, and it's easy. It'll just slide right off. I've read that. So the glue is not waterproof, which it never has to be, obviously. It's in a disk drive. But you could try that. Maybe some alcohol, I don't know. But I just take a screwdriver like this and tap it and take it right off. I came up with another idea, because when you're tapping it, according to the internet, when you tap it, it loses magnetism. I don't really want to lose magnetism, so I'm thinking I can set it in here like this, turn the vise with something here, and just push it off. I'm going to try that for the first time right now. Now, oh, another thing, you can look in here, you can see the magnet is on this metal, but it has these guides, metal nipple guides that are solid. You're not going to be able to push them through that, so you have to push it this way, away from these three guides, otherwise it's never going to work. So I'm going to take it like this, and I'm going to take another object of some kind, probably this. I'll just try this, hopefully this will work, and I'm going to just try to push the magnet off. Hopefully you can see this, I'm not really watching. I'm going to set this down, open the device, hopefully it'll be open enough. Yep, plenty of room. I'm going to set it right there, right? Turn it on maybe. And then I'm going to close the vise, hopefully just push that magnet right off, dislodged from the glue. Hopefully you can see this now. Now these are brittle, so you should probably wear eye protection in case something happens. I'm kind of holding this with my fingers as I'm turning. Alright, it just looks like it's just going to crack up the magnet. You can see it's starting to crack the magnet, which isn't good. I didn't want to crack it either, so it kind of cracked the magnet, which I don't like. You can come up with some kind of way to dislodge it. I thought that might work, but look at that. Man, everything sticks to this. This is so freaking strong. So that's another good thing. If you want to pick up screws, use one of these magnets. So I've already put the magnet in duct tape, which I'm going to show you how to do. So say you want to pick up screws, easy way to pick up screws, and you just take them right off the duct tape. They slide right off. It's a good way to pick up if you spill a bunch of nails or screws or something. Alright, so I'm going to show you how I do this. And again, I don't really recommend this, but it works, and the magnetism doesn't seem to be reduced that much. So I'm going to take this magnet here. I'm going to show you how I do this. Set it in here. Let's see, you got to do it the right way. Alright, so do it down. Just like that. And then I take a hammer and a screwdriver. And I'm sure there's better ways to do this, like I said. But I just hit it. Alright, well this one was really stuck. This one was really stuck. It was easy. I did this couple of them last night. It was much easier. But it did dislodge, as you can see. Maybe not as well as I thought, but you use the screwdriver. Okay, so I got the magnet from the piece of metal. It's definitely iron magnetized. Now I kind of messed up this magnet a little bit. It's got a fracture up here from when I first tried it. The glue seemed to be stronger in this one. Now what I do is, this magnet has a thin, actually it's kind of thick, chrome coating on it. I think it's chrome, but to make it to expose it more, I take a knife and I kind of shave the chrome off. You can see it comes right off. See, I shave the chrome off just to make it a little better magnet surface to stick. And you know, obviously be careful when you're doing all this. You can cut your finger off and whatever. Okay, so I've kind of tried to create a flat surface as possible, and I'll tell you why in a second here. So I'm taking the chrome off. That chrome doesn't want to come off. It's flat enough. Because what I want to do, as you can see, this side is where the magnet was. I want to turn it over. The reason is because this side's flat. And that way the magnet will stick to something flat. So then you can stick the magnet on there. Now what I do is I take a little bit of glue. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather. It's cold here. Okay, so I take a little bit of this glue. I use Power Grab, but use a fast setting, waterproof glue or whatever. I put a little dab of glue in there, and then I take the surface of the magnet that I shaved. Now by doing that, it just cracked. It just cracked in half, but that's alright. I'm just going to put it back on there. They're real brittle, so you got to be careful. Alright, so I'm going to, whoa. You got to be careful with these things. These things they'll actually get in your fingers. They can mess you up. Now, if you put two magnets together, it's actually stronger. But I'm going to keep this surface area intact, because I'm using this for a tarp in the car. This one I really messed up, but we're going to do another one here in a second. Hopefully I won't mess it up so bad. Okay, so the part I shaved, I'm trying to put flat down. But I don't know. I don't think I will. Since I created two magnets here, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna put the whole thing on like I normally would. Hopefully. Now you see. Okay. There we go. Now, a little glue popped out of the crack here. You can wipe it away. Alright, so that was the whole plan. to put it on the magnet on with a little glue, and then this surface is somewhat flat, so it'll stick to a car or whatever you want, or a massive magnet for your refrigerator or whatever. So then what I do is I take a piece of duct tape. Very important. This is an important step, and it will not reduce the magnetism that much. Duct tape isn't that thick, but it preserves everything. So you've got the magnet glued on there, and you want to center it and put the duct tape, put it right on the duct tape, just like that, right? Squeeze it together, and then take part of the duct tape, fold it over, take the other side, fold it over, and then squeeze all the duct tape together. This does a couple of things. It preserves your magnet, because magnets will rust, believe it or not. And then you want to use it then, you know. Here, I'm going to adjust this just a little bit here. Okay, so you've got the duct tape around the magnet. Now you can see some exposure here. You could take another piece of duct tape and put it this way to really seal it from the elements if you use it outside, but I'm not going to do it. This is good enough for me. Alright, so we're going to do one more, because the last one, oh, this one actually hit, it's screwed up too, but I'm going to do it anyway, so I'm going to let you watch here. So I'm going to put it in there. You don't need to use a screwdriver. That's actually kind of dumb. You know what? I'm going to use this. This is more of a flat surface, so this would be smarter. So don't use a screwdriver. Use something wider and flatter. I suggest you actually, like I said before, put it in hot water and try it. It might just slide right off, but I read that on the internet. Don't know if it works or not. Alright, so I'm going to take this, and I'm going to hit it to dislodge it. Okay, that worked much better. Don't use a screwdriver, that's dumb. Use something flat like that. Okay, so took the magnet right off, didn't crack it. You might want to use a screwdriver if it's still kind of stuck a little bit here. Try not to stick the screwdriver in your hand, which really hurts, I tell you what. Alright. There, magnet's off. Okay, so now you've got the magnet. This one's in better shape than the last one. It's not cracked in half. Okay, so now you've got the piece of metal. Oh, I did it again. Stop it already. So, you want to take a little bit of glue, plop it in there, right? Then, if you want to take the, usually I take the chrome off, but it's not too bad, so I'm just going to leave it. This side's kind of crappy, so I'm going to glue that side down. Leave this side's kind of flat. So now you want to put it right over the glue, just like that. Now here's another thing I ask everybody, if someone can explain this. The magnet's a lot stronger on this side after it's stuck to the piece of metal. It really is. So somehow it concentrates the lines of force, the magnetic lines of force, just to this side. It's a lot stronger on the metal than without. I know it for a fact. If somebody could explain that to me in the comments, I'd appreciate it, because I don't understand it. Unless it takes all the magnetic lines of force, blocks it with this piece of metal, and moves it or concentrates it to this side to make it stronger, I don't know. If you know, that's great. Put it in the comments. And I also have another theory on magnets. Magnets themselves don't have any power at all. They just don't. What I think happens is there's an ether that surrounds the Earth, and it's a power, and it's called the ether. You can look it up, and this power surrounds the universe. And I think the metal, the magnet, all it does is all the domains are aligned one way, and it harvests the power of the ether and creates a magnetic force. That's what I think. Metal has no power in it at all. All it's doing is harvesting the ether itself. And I think a free energy or a perpetual motion machine can be done with gravity and magnetism, because gravity is a powerful force and magnetism is a powerful force, which is harvesting the ether. You could take those two things somehow and make a perpetual motion device, or a generator, perpetual motion generator. I believe it can be done. I believe it has been done, and it's been suppressed. Big oil will suppress it, because then if you could make a machine like that, you wouldn't need big oil, would you? And guess what would happen? Big oil wouldn't be able to make all the money they make, and everybody could have a free energy machine in their own house, and they wouldn't have to pay for fuel to heat their house or run the electricity or anything. And I believe these inventions have been made, but they've been suppressed. Let me know what you think about that too in the comments. Okay, so you take your duct tape and just put it over right in the middle, right? Fold it over, squeeze it, get in there, fold it over. And now you've got a magnet to use to do whatever you want. Hold a tarp down over your car in the winter. Hold things to your refrigerator. Pick up screws like that. If you spill a bunch of screws, easy to pick them up, or any kind of mess. Or if you've got a bunch of metal shavings, it's a real easy way to pick up metal shavings, and then you just sweep them in your garbage can. And it's a lot easier to put duct tape, because then everything slides right off. So here's another tip for you: how to harvest magnets from disk drives. That's what you got to do. Alright, so please subscribe, please share this video out there, and have fun with these magnets. Alright everyone, take care.